All right, folks, welcome back. A little bit late on the unmute there, sorry, as we actually get into game. It is map number 1 here for the finals of the group. One last player, one last chance for these two players to get through. Spawning here in the bottom left, playing for Storm Gaming. He's the red Terran GuMiho.
In the top left, as the blue Zerg, it is soO.
And of course, if you guys are enjoying the tournament, once again, if you're in the United States, please check out the sponsors over on bttv.ting.com. You'll get $25 in credit. They'll know you came from the channel. You'll be actually contributing to saving esports while getting maybe a cheaper phone bill. Definitely worth checking out. But this is a really interesting one for me. soO and GuMiho haven't really met in much of anything we've been casting recently, at least to my recollection.
Not sure.
I mean, we'd have to dig up a Ligulac stats, I think, but
Yeah.
what's cool though is, on the side note, round of 8 now consists of Nurchio, Snoot, and Stats. And I actually would be really curious to see how all this rounds out. Again, for those who don't know, round of 8 for us is random draw, so it's not like, oh, seed 1 of the Korean bracket plays seed 2 of the European bracket or anything like that. So it won't be until Saturday that we find out who plays against who for that round of 8. But this coming Sunday is going to be the round of 8. We want to wrap things up with about a week and a half, 2 weeks time, so that we plan the flights out with the players. Excuse me, wow, I can't speak. And it should be good times going from there.
Yeah, pretty excited to see who's going to be joining us, the live event.
Yeah, live event's actually going to be kind of interesting. Again, this is the very first season we've ever made any tournament, whether it's TING or otherwise, so top heavy with prizing, but it does award money only to the top 4 players, and we haven't talked about it for a while, but well, players are getting their flights and hotels paid for to come and play. 4th place in the tournament is going to be worth $250. 3rd place is worth $750. 2nd place is $1,500, and the grand total finals is 1st place $2,500. And again, that's on top of the $1,500 stipend we're giving them for their flights and the hotel costs and food and all that good stuff. So I mean, these guys are really just getting a free trip to America to get money, and they're guaranteed to get money, just a matter of how much.
It's a pretty sweet deal.
I'm hoping we can do more of this. I really am. And the live event should be a lot of fun. Again, emphasizing too, if you guys are in the California area, it's going to be in Fremont. A lot of us are, I guess I thought it was just called San Jose, but apparently it's not. Either way, point is kind of like the name of the area, free being the key word, so will attendance to the event. You're not going to have to buy tickets. You're not going to have to pay for a badge. Just come, enjoy the show. There will be an Eventbrite going up in the near future. The Eventbrite will guarantee reservation to the finals if for some reason we like fill the capacity and there's like hundreds and hundreds of StarCraft fans there. Eventbrite will guarantee that you get into the building though. So once that goes live, we'll be advertising the crap out of it, and make sure you guys sign up. But anyways, back on point for the game. soO comes in with a lot of lings pretty quick. GuMiho though with these Hellions might not actually have enough, all things considered. That is a lot of lings.
He's got to control it very well.
I love they splitting the lings like this too. He gets that surround, kills the SSCVs. Reaper did actually force the drone to complete on the extractor. That's awkward. Preferably a build cancel into a 3rd hatchery. So the link's not cleaning this up. Like, okay, it gets a couple of kills, but it costs him his 3rd potentially.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a good trade, but it wasn't enough for the amount of lings he got.
Thank you very much to Marley Links for the Twitch Prime sub, by the way. And someone in the chat's asking for commenting on replays. No, sir, this is all live. If this was replays, you'd see a little bar right up here that you can fast forward and pause with. But we don't, because we only do live games as much as we can.
I think they're discussing, because we derped out, and it was soO vs GuMiho that started off the series, the group today.
Oh, you are right. I'm so dumb.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I am too. I thought that was soO Joshi, but that was actually another tournament entirely that we referred back to when we cast these guys in the first round. So that's why they were confused. Which,
yeah. So it is that rematch.
We just derped.
Yeah.
Yep.
Of course,
that rematch.
It was a 3-0 though in GuMiho's favor, if I recall. Then, since this is this tournament.
Yeah. I remember it now. It was 3 racks versus 2 Ravager rushes. One that even happened on this map. So a bit of a change up from their last best of 5. So just going for that spare.
That is the interesting thing about it, though, because I'm sorry, guys. It's early. Whatever. No excuses.
Okay, that was 4 hours ago. All right, like that's my excuse.
Okay, well, my point of bringing this up, though, was I really felt like that 3-0 was mostly on soO, almost giving the games away, and a lot less on GuMiho necessarily winning them. So I think as long as soO doesn't do like weird early Ravager rushes, I think he's fine. Like his macro's pretty good. He's a stellar player all around, but so far this game, players just trading out evenly. 11 drones, though, is pretty nasty. And that third base, of course, delayed as long as it was. Puts GuMiho in a pretty nice spot, I'd say.
Yeah. I mean, the macro game that they played on Proxima, I believe it was, GuMiho did end up taking it, and it was pretty cool.
So,
Doom drops and all that.
Just as an FYI, again, I'll state this now because it could be a problem later. Depending on how things set up for GSL, if stats were to drop out before the round of 8 plays, which would be unfortunate, I hope he doesn't, but if he does, we would replace somebody from the group with him. But if he plays the round of 8 and drops out afterwards, we will replace with the round of 8 player.
Right.
So there's a lot of hopes, I'm sure, of people saying, well, soO or GuMiho both could get through this, but maybe not going to be the case.
Well, meters are now out, looking for any damage possible. We have a pretty quick armory for GuMiho here, very oddly timed. And Vikings are already on the way, too. This is really weird. And I think it would be a very effective push if it was up against Lings. But once again, soO has gone for mutas into roaches on this map, like he did versus Jakshi, and that might not be what GuMiho's thinking. He's got combat shields and +1 on the way, and that armory definitely was to make these Hellions into Hellbats.
I mean, I like that he's picking off a couple units from the reinforcement line, because those are units he wouldn't be able to just easily pick off on the front lines, but still the problem is just that I don't know how much the dependency is on these mutas. Like, okay, there's something annoying in the back, flies away, doesn't die, but there's a lot of roaches. Ravages landing as Corsair Gears do miss, but the Queen's here in the front lines, missing a couple of these transfuses. They do live for a little bit longer. Roach is getting some good damage, but I think the buyout of GuMiho might still... No, not with reinforcements.
I really think if he had combat chills on +1, he would have maybe pushed through that.
Ooh.
Or at least made it very, very close. There's like a ton of roaches left over.
You know, taking out those the Vikings was actually really nice. The Mutalisks have a chance to regenerate. Maybe we get the Medivacs afterwards, because the only thing's fast enough to chase him, but Marines realizing at the last second to maybe focus on the Mutalisks. Not too shabby. If he goes for the low Medivac, he might get the one that has units inside of it.
I gotta figure this is already a borderline game over, though. GuMiho committed so much from his factory, which really should have been producing tanks, not Hellions.
And does SCV count?
Yeah, SCV count, no third base, only on 3 barracks, with 2 more finishing up just now. There's not going to be a fast enough follow-up, I don't think. soO will just run away with the game.
Well, soO doesn't actually have that many Ravagers, but he will catch GuMiho having just left the base, so there's not going to be really any defenses at home. This is going to go base trade territories.
Yeah, it is. GuMiho comes back with his Vikings. It's kind of weird, but still goes on with the Medivacs.
Vikings won't be so necessary across the map. They were here just for the mutas, funny enough. But Corsair Gears going to land on the Vikings, maybe? Either way, the Vikings are not really that big of a deal. It's the Roaches and the Ravagers and everything on the ground. As soO rallies from the main into the natural, honestly, Queens with a couple good transfuses, as long as they snipe off the Medivacs.
It would be worth their deaths to snipe the Medivacs here. But GuMiho successfully holed up in the main base. A single tank had popped out and really helped with that. His army has to pull back, and he lost his hatchery, so that does help GuMiho.
More than just a hatchery, though. That was his lair.
That's true. I mean, he has speed, but yeah.
Start +2.
Yeah, I guess he can start Carapace if he really is desperate for an upgrade. GuMiho started +2.
If he brings the Overlord over, the thing that was pushing him back there was, high ground is going to make it really difficult to push,
right? Oh, no,
right?
those tanks going to get taken out way too fast.
Will it, though? Corsair Gears don't aim at the tank. They land on top of the Marines. The tank's just getting free fire, but maybe soO's okay with that. Just busting in with the Roaches, hoping numbers are in his favor. He really should focus that tank down, though. It's up to 7 kills.
Yeah, I think there was a mistake definitely where GuMiho did move out of Corsair Gears, because of that. I think I had 1 or 2 more shots and the Marines didn't die like Corsair Gears. He might have taken care of the Roaches.
The Corsair Gears on the Marines is always a little bit risky. Like, if he had just removed the tank from the equation immediately, there'd be a lot more auto-attacking. But besides the point, for the time being, soO's army is getting obliterated. GuMiho looks like he's losing out more here, but I think at the end of the day, soO killed a lot of workers and maybe even enough workers because he knows there's no third. Yeah. He's creep blocking one side and he's been attacking through the other. So GuMiho's income is severely stifled. In fact, oh god, look at the income graph.
I think soO has, by attacking like he has, made it into a closer game than it needed to be, but it still is definitely in his favor. He gets a main base back up, he gets a macro hatchery, he gets a fourth base because he's banking so many minerals.
Yeah,
There's missing gas after losing that main base.
This drop might be nice. There's a free hatchery. It's kind of low.
Yeah, that might pull the army out of position too if another drop went to the main base.
You know, soO did drone a little bit while this goes on too, so it's not like he's got this overbearing army, but also not exactly underwhelming either.
Yeah, he thought the drop would go to the main base, but GuMiho just kind of psychs him out there and runs to the middle.
Okay, that was
there
a
are
cancel,
some mutas. I mean, there's only 2 mutas, I guess, but you gotta be a little careful.
I'm glad he's making more though. I think picking off these medevacs is a great way to make this game end.
Yeah, I think so too. This is the only way that GuMiho is going to continue doing damage to bring the game back. Aside from soO overcommitting in aggression. No cancel on that base, but soO doesn't have a problem with minerals.
Yeah, actually even floating a little bit back there. But getting close to being supply capped off, he does need to consider making some overlords. Problem is, I think all the larvae he has wants to go towards more army units right now.
Run, medevacs. GuMiho has been using tanks. So, you know, again, like in a perfect ideal scenario, they're behind a wall and soO overcommits again with his roaches. I think soO has learned his lesson once, and well, there isn't a wall. So.
You know, +2 did finish up, so there's actually a considerable amount of firepower through those Marines. But I think for this game, soO, it's not about pushing, it's just about living, because he is going to outlast GuMiho. There's no doubt in my mind. 26 SCVs, you can't really comfortably mine much more past the next few minutes. He's not even mining gas in the main, for goodness sake. I mean, GuMiho is all in with this, and not just all in, but like dedicated all in.
He's got a shot, I think. 15 army supply down against roaches with better upgrades and tanks on your side. Again, like, it's got to be a good situation, a good setup, but it could happen. You know, the tanks aren't taken down immediately, which they aren't. Cancel on the fourth base, soO just retreats. Tanks get a better position up against a ledge, and they still aren't corrosive bile. They're actually, you know, getting kind of a, you know, dozen shots in. That could be actually the end of a roach army there, but all ideal scenarios.
The decision making though at soO has been really interesting to watch, and I don't even mean that in like a necessarily good way, because he's been not corrosive biling the tanks, but instead trying to hit bio, not really taking out medevacs. I don't know, like army controls make me a little bit worried for soO. In fact, splitting up like this is a little bit dangerous. He will cut reinforcements out though, which is huge. Not
as much as I think he wanted to though. Like almost the Lings died, so he needs to wait for another round of 6 Marines.
Kill literally the rest of the SCVs. They're all right here. Everything is pulled from the main.
Maybe he could. I don't actually think he can. There's still enough, just barely enough Marines coming out here.
Even if he doesn't, he's already denied all the mining. Like that actually kills GuMiho's income.
It's so funny. But it does, of course, GuMiho took that advantage to try and drop. Didn't really do a lot of damage. Tries to push in without his tanks, or kind of with his tanks, kind of not. Takes a corrosive bile to the Marines once again, and this looks like it's going to be it. Pushing in against that roach army with only 1 tank firing at it? Yeah, that was never going to go that well.
Yeah, I would have even liked unsieged tanks in that instance, you know, like instead of like not firing more than once or twice in siege mode.
Yeah, just felt the pressure. Got the game over. On to the next game, Abyssal Reef.
Yeah. Small break while we get into it, guys. We'll see you soon. Game number 2 here in the finals of the group. Thanks for watching. All right, we're back. Game number 2 here in the finals. Spawning here in the upper left. 1 game, 1 win under his belt. It's going to be the red Zerg player, soO.
Bottom right is the blue Terran. He is GuMiho.
If I could get you to do sub catch up. Again, my Streamlabs still isn't reloaded yet.
Yeah, actually gonna cut you. Thank you to Megcron, Megacron, something like that for the new sub. Haplo42 for the 13-month sub. Thanks, Striff and ZG. You're both awesome. ZG, you're a babe. Okay, then. And then Marley Lynx for the new sub as well.
Such a babe, Zombie Grub.
Yeah, okay.
You know what else is a babe? GuMiho.
Because
he's go.
Oh, okay. My bad. I didn't know you had a...
You were correct. I mean, babe.
Sorry.
That'll do, pig, right? Like.
I never really watched Babe, to be honest.
Oh. That's like probably I think one of the first animal. No, Charlotte's Web. Charlotte's Web then Bay was probably the first.
I didn't watch that either.
You never watched Charlotte's Web?
No.
So you don't know about the rat having a smorgasbord at the carnival? Like,
no.
Oh my god. Zombie
Sorry.
girl. What will I do with you?
I don't know.
Okay, anyways, 3 Racks Reaper comes down. GuMiho did have some success with this in the first series today, but again, I cannot begin to emphasize how much of this was soO going for these weird all-in builds that not just got countered, but backfired heavily against GuMiho's attacks like this. So this time around, we'll get to see what a more regular 3 Racks Reaper looks like. Again, for those, I keep saying again, kill me. The Reaper Grenade was nerfed. It's 14-second cooldown, no longer 7. This doesn't really seem to have an effect when there's a lot of them. Thank God we already got to see that with Optimus, but in the early numbers, 5 Reapers, 3 Reapers, like this grenade actually, the cooldown is noticeable.
Yeah. Soon enough, soO, actually now probably soO's recognized what the build is, as the second Reaper is shown to his overlords.
Yep.
If you notice it.
It's very important to keep these things alive. They don't need to do much for now, but they just need to buffer for that queen when she comes out. So there we go. I gotta be hesitant with the grenade use though. You can't really spam it the way you used to. So there you go. Now on cooldown for like almost 10 more seconds. Nothing you can do.
By a long time. A lot more lings. Produce nothing but lings from here on out until you're actually able to push off those Reapers. Little paranoid about the Reapers going up to the main base, so soO repositions. He was pretty on point though, and the Overlord will see that.
You know, another part of the Reaper Grenade...
Very nice.
Ooh, nice catch. Another part of the Reaper Grenade aspect of this that we talk about a lot is, you know, the killing buildings. Like, I'm wondering if at what point Spinecrawlers become viable against this again.
Yeah. Well, if it means that you can just offend with lings, then there's no point in building a Spinecrawler. But if it means the Spinecrawler means you don't have to get the lings, then maybe it is worth it.
Yeah, there's definitely that question of like which is going to be better, and I think some of it depends on how dedicated the situation gets too. Like if you really can't afford to spend time looking at the main, well, throw a Spinecrawler there. The bonus armor it gets keeps it pretty alive versus the Reaper auto attacks, and with the longer cooldown of the grenades, you can't really spam it down like you could before. Regardless, though, Ling's running on the right side, so you're looking to set up a counterattack, which is cool, and I think he's got enough at home to bluff a defense. If GuMiho comes up here, he won't be thinking like, oh wow, there's 8 Lings missing from this, but there are. Wall is up though.
soO's not going to be able to do very much, except maybe distract GuMiho, but since he's not being pressured anyways, I don't think there's a real necessity to try and distract the guy. GuMiho maybe going to go up to that main base, thinking about it, and thinking maybe it's not worth it. I mean, he's already transferred out of the Reaper build. And
soO knows this as well. Without having scouted the barracks, he just saw the Reaper number not continue to grow, so he felt very safe to start droning behind this. I mean, that was just 6 drones he laid in, which would otherwise be a game-ending move if you're still getting hit with like 14 or 15 Reapers. So he took a chance, because I really want to stress, like, the Overlords have not seen the front of the base. He doesn't know that they were lifting tech labs and reactors and such were added.
That might have been worth trying to attack with the Lings just to get that scout. Oh, well. It's one thing to see the tech lab and reactors, another to see if there's a third base or not, a factory or not, and that's also something soO has not been able to see. We have GuMiho once again adding in Hellions, but this time makes a lot more sense. Last game, he must have, predicted soO going for the Lings, or maybe just hoped that his roaches would be a little more bulked up, lower in number. Here, as long as the Banelings aren't pre-made, the Hellions will add quite a bit. I mean, the Reapers will even add quite a bit, coming in with the main push. The grenades still need to only go down once to really spread apart those Banelings and make them easy to snipe.
Well, one Ling comes down to see no third base yet, but, GuMiho could be just making that in its main. Kind of a cheeky spot to hide, which is cool, but... Yeah, now he sees for sure tech labs and reactors. I think he'll see the medevac with the Overlords. Just confirming, yep. Actually gonna lose the Overlords, that sucks.
Yeah. GuMiho is not bothering with upgrades so far with this build. It's kind of looking to be a scary follow-up.
This little blitz attack, too, is something that he can't ignore. That was almost having no units in position, but the Queens come back now. To plant back down those tumors. soO does get supply blocked, by the way, through those Overlords that were scouting, getting picked off. Another one might go down here as well. That supply block. That could be devastating, actually. Transfuse maybe into the Overlord? Yep, we're saving.
Yeah, I guess the Overlord is worth saving. I'm kind of worried that means that the Queens aren't transfusing each other, though.
It does, but it also means he doesn't get the supply block to lose the game for it, so I don't know. It's like... Well,
he had Overlords on the way, so it's like, yeah, whatever. I was going to even transfuse that one. This isn't the might of GuMiho's army, though. Like, this is something that he's like, okay, this is fine. I can take care. This is mostly Reapers, but a lot more Marines are coming.
Well, you know what? He comes from the backside, though, and he's going to get a nice surround. Grenades have got to drop. He's got to deal with these Lings. Banley's connected. The Hellions cleans up that first wave, and soO should be able to hold off the second attack, but if he goes off a creep like this, he's starting to overextend. Oh, that last Banley hit, though, was absolutely phenomenal. GuMiho picks up in those last second, too, but this was a good hold out of soO. If that last Banley didn't connect, that actually might not have been the hole that he needed it to be.
That was really awkward by GuMiho, too, just to go up that ramp like that, looking for another creep tumor killer or something, but to lose the Reapers, lose the Hellions. His push no longer looking so great, and he is behind on upgrades. Now he's going to try and add in Hellbats once again. I think that time is gone and past, man. Like, sure, it's against Lings now, but it's going to be way too late.
Well, Medevac's pushed off. While this goes on, GuMiho's continuing to rally across the map, but no sign of a third base. He's going to start engineering base, which will be a little bit... I want to call it greedy almost? Yeah, it's reaching, yeah.
Like, I don't know if this game's going to go on that long, GuMiho. He's probably planning on just using his main, of course, as his third base, and that can sometimes be pretty fluid and not interrupt your economy too much. I don't know about getting upgrades. soO, of course, his upgrades are already done. He might not have Baneling speed, but this will still be mostly on creep, and there are a lot of Banelings. Enough to tear through the Hellbats and then some.
How long does speed stun actually? Very close. Ooh, that's scary.
Wow, GuMiho's even committing to a vehicle upgrade. Oh.
That is very presumptuous that he would get to that point, but these Banelings are slow, but they still get some okay connects. The big thing he's looking for, though, is that extra health that the speed gives. Could be the difference of these connecting to some and not connecting at all. The focus fire so far out of GuMiho has been pretty on point.
Oh, it's same thing can be said about soO. He has taken down the Medevacs. Yeah. One died, another one's very low. This isn't quite working. Now soO, I mean, he still hasn't started his 2-2, he still doesn't have a fourth base, and he is banking a lot of money, but he is getting to that point to just overwhelming Ling numbers. And there goes his fourth base now, in an uncommon location, but kind of out of necessity.
I actually can't think of the last time I saw a base taken down here.
Unless it was a 5th or a 6th.
Yeah. Well, the Spire follow-up is going to be interesting. That'll help hunt down the Medevacs. It'll deal with this eventual Liberator problem too. But I really like soO's position so far in this game. And this is so crazy because he had such a bad first series today versus GuMiho. He's such a cheesy, dedicated, bad Ravager set. Playing macro, looking way better for it.
You make him think that you're a bad player that only cheeses.
If your goal was to get through the finals of the group and not first place, then yeah, maybe.
Maybe that's exactly what it was.
I'm not saying it wasn't.
He's like, I can't take on stats. You kidding me?
Yeah, he's Protoss.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, we thought it was presumptuous, but GuMiho does end up finishing all of his upgrades.
I don't know how effective the vehicle weapons is going to be, though. This isn't a Roach army. There's no like bonus damage from the tanks that's going to be amazing. Hellions are kind of whatever.
Well,
just get Blue Flame instead.
Yeah, so it's just gonna help his Medevacs and his Widowmines live a little longer, which has been a serious consideration for upgrades in the past, but it looks a little bit funny.
I guess I always forget that it's still air armor too. My bad.
Yeah, he did sneak in a third command center too, so this isn't as desperate as we thought it was gonna be. And GuMiho still has a decent army supply. soO is gonna have faster upgrades, and he's gonna finally have mutas, but loses a fourth base here.
He's just playing responsive and defending. It's interesting to see the investment in the air upgrades out of soO, actually. That, for me, doesn't say so much mutas nearly as much as I would imagine even corruptors later on, but the mutas will still get great benefit from it. Oh, we'll get a medevac there. That one was pretty full of units. That's nice. He's continuing to push off a creep. soO's got to be careful. Realizing he's overextending, does pull back.
No Overseer. That could have been very bad. His +2 carapace is about to finish. So is his fourth base.
Oh, Wings get into the natural.
Run by.
Oh, better hold position out of GuMiho, actually.
Yeah,
that hold
really
position was actually the difference of a lot of SCVs going down and only like 3 or 4.
Yeah, that was pretty cool maneuvers. Made 2 Marines look like heroes.
Yeah,
One Marine looked like a hero.
So actually, those Marines were literally Zap Brannigan. Just sending the SCVs in to die for them potentially. Hold position, men.
Just hold right there. Let them Well, okay, in real life, they wouldn't, like, derp around you. They wouldn't be like, well, let's attack you. What's happening?
No, they might. You don't know. You've never seen this directly in real life, now have you?
That's true, and I've never gone to war,
what if,
so I don't know.
Oh my god, what if the AI in StarCraft is actually perfect?
I wouldn't know.
Alright, this attack is not going to end up running away with all the SCVs, but more of them do die, and those Marines choked in the corner are buying a lot of time for the defense. Liberator set up, and these links should get totally cleaned up. soO's giving away a lot of these, but it's a lot because he's looking elsewhere. Widowmine's taking a good chunk of the Bailings. He's trying to finish this off, but one last Widowmine cleans up the rest, and these Marines are... Well, they trade out pretty well, I'll say. Look at the resources lost.
It doesn't matter. GuMiho doesn't have enough SCVs on 3 bases.
Oh, man. Zombie grab soO with a 2-0 lead. Now puts GuMiho on his last life here in the finals of the group. Before we even get into the game, do you think he can do it? Do you think we have the 3-0?
Yeah, I think it's the reverse 3-0.
Oh, man. The group curse. It's been sleeping and dormant for so long, but it's finally back.
Exactly. Just waiting for the round of 16.
That's be cool. Again, like to a degree, it is rooting for soO. Good player, good stuff. But it is that concern that him or stats at any point, like they are ticking time bombs for us. Like if they lose their GSL group, then it's not a problem. They keep going through, and I'm very happy and very excited to meet both of them. But on the other hand, if they both get through, they both end up in the finals of GSL, then that takes away half of our potentially, excuse me, half of our tournament.
Do you see this? soO is a caster.
I'm not in the lobby. Let me look. soO is not. He's on no clan.
Okay, so that must just be a bug that I got because I swapped out with him. But since you're new to the lobby, I guess it didn't show for you.
That's weird.
It just looked silly. It made me feel special for a second, and then it stopped.
It's like one of those things where like you swap places, but he kept your clothes on, or you kept each other's clothes.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, Newkirk Precinct might just be the final destination for these two players. It all comes down to this one for GuMiho, but of course soO has 2 lives to fall back on. So if he wants to get cheesy, if he wants to get experimental, like this would be the one time he's really able to get away with it.
Go for it.
Oh, that worker split at the start. Even though it automatically does it for you, soO, just that little extra touch. Mwah. In the bottom left, he's got 2 points on the board, putting his opponent on his last life. It's the Red Zerg player, soO.
In the bottom right is the blue Terran. It is GuMiho.
All right, so GuMiho has seen through 1 game of macro, doesn't work. 1 game of cheese with Reapers, doesn't work. I don't know what he goes for, assumes it's the best for this one, but Rax again early on, maybe? Reapers, question mark?
1 Rax Expand didn't do so poorly on Proxima into a more normal game. These Hellbat pushes are very weird for me, because GuMiho didn't try them last time they played. And it's not something that he consistently does over and over again, and they're not the typical Hellbat pushes. They're not the Medevac, 4 Marines, 6 Marines, whatever, and then a handful of Hellbats. They're these later armories combined with 2 base stim timings, which I could see winning a couple of games, but are just not working. 1, because, well, soO went roaches, and the other because soO was just barely prepared. I don't know what GuMiho's planning. Making a Nosneb 782 for the 23-month resub.
Much appreciate. Felt like a cartoon character saying that.
You sounded like one.
Actually, have you seen those really weird channels on YouTube for kids, and like they all have really weird ass voices?
No.
This is one guy, I think it's a guy at least, who I feel they very intentionally pronounce vowels wrong. So, like, I want to go to the theater. Like, I don't know. Like, it just, but it's this really weird voice.
Okay, I'm not quite imagining it. But.
Actually, if you go, the scariest thing right now to do is if you ever go to YouTube and hit the trending tab, there's some weird shit that I don't know why it gets views that it does. I know there's like some of the stuff's been covered by H3 and some of the like the YouTube like commenters out there, but like there's things on there like 40 million views, and it's just like these weird Spider-Man videos and stuff, and I'm like, I thought this was a joke. I thought this was the thing that, you know, we just let H3 cover. I didn't realize it was an actual thing.
I've never looked at trending on YouTube.
Gotta aim for the kids, 'cause apparently where all the money on YouTube is. Anyways,
Okay.
These 2 lanes will actually shut down the command center. We'll see for how long, because the Reaper coming across the map, it's being a little annoying. It might even get a drone kill or 2, but it will eventually be shut down. GuMiho, on the other hand, is struggling to get the command center built. And the longer this gets delayed, the more it really just sinks in how much this hurts.
He's going to be supply blocked soon.
These 2 SCVs actually running all the way around the map, so this 3rd one might actually finish it.
This is a big problem. He can't make another Hellion.
Yeah, this is what we talked about. You brought this up. Like, the command center can sometimes be a huge dependency for that supply. And this is one of those cases.
Mm-hmm. That was a pretty bad stall out. Very annoying. If there was a follow-up of any type, GuMiho also might have been out of the loop about it because his Reaper did eventually have to retreat, but there isn't. Just well, there is a follow-up, which is Lair, but it wasn't like a Rouger follow-up. I
love some of these cheers in chat, by the way. You got Mismatch Tech hoping for the 3-0 on soO. You got Maynard cheering for the 3-2 reverse kill for GuMiho. I don't know, guys. I'm really indecisive. I would love to see either of these 2 get through, because the thing is, this match, in the grand scheme of things for us on the content creator side, doesn't really matter. It's the round of 8 that truly matters the most, because that determines which 4 players go to California. So I mean, soO or GuMiho could get through, and their chances are still not even set in stone. They got one last best of 5 they'd have to play through to qualify in.
Yeah. Pretty excited for that run of it, actually. It's Sunday. Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking back to Ryung and Snoot and games like that. Those were some of the most fun matches. And it's not to say that any of these have been bad, but the way we segment the groups, you really don't have Korean versus Foreigner until you get to the very end.
Yeah. It's just kind of a cool little thing. Makes it easier, too, for the region swapping.
Season 1 was Foreigner versus Korean, right? And then Season 2 was Korean versus Korean for the finals?
Yes.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that ends up being the case again. Noteworthy Foreigners still in the tournament, by the way. Like we already saw Snoot and Nurchio get through, obviously, but Neeb still has to play his group. I'm sure he'll get through. Masa or True after that, and True's not looking so hot. So honestly, Masa or Neeb, both pretty high contenders. Sure. I love him canning. I don't want to count him out, but
anyways.
All right, Hellion Run is looking to roast up some drones, but the Lings and a couple of drones being pulled very selectively on top of this will help make sure that these don't get the greatest shots, but they're still on 10, 15 worker skill. Forget what I said. He just roasted up a whole hell of a lot of drones.
Okay, so that did end up being worthwhile. I was going to say, until it was 15 drones, was that worth it? Because GuMiho did the armory thing again. And I'm like even more confused as to why you would sacrifice your Hellions if you're going to go for the armory. It's because you went for Thor. Well, that was so obvious, Zombie Grub.
Yes, Zombie Grub. I thought, for all the praise you get for being good at casting.
So GuMiho's going to go mech for this last game. There's no other way.
Is he, though? I mean...
There's no other way he's going to start Stim.
Yeah, okay, it's got to be with the +1 weapons. Yeah. I was going to say, this could be something weird and desperate because he saw the Spire and got scared, but... yeah, this is... With +1 weapons starting, I'm almost certainly going to have to go that direction. I don't know whether that's a good or a bad decision, though. Because there are some players who flop around and they don't know what to do versus mech, but I feel like soO, just knowing how smart he is, I don't think this is something he will be totally dumbfounded by.
Well, he's already set up nicely for it. He's once again going for the Muta in a Roach build. I mean, he might have done this in the first place because he was scared of his opponents going for mech, but I think it's just something that he's been doing lately, and it does set you up well for the mech play. Yeah. And Mutas give you a bit of control, they give you a bit of scouting, they might deny the third base for like a tiny little bit, and then you get into a nice big old Roach army.
And there's the extra factories coming down, so certainly going to be the case here. Thor's get some good shots. Vikings will help push this off. Chat wants to know, like, Miss Magitech, I thought she was at PAX. Yo, Miss Magitech works for Corsair where these finals are going down. You better believe she's here. Plus cheering on her favorite players. She's got that StarCraft passion, boys.
Considering it's 2017 and y'all are on the internet right now, I don't know how you'd be surprised that someone was at a location yet also watching a stream.
In fairness, Hotel Internet's not exactly well known for how good it plays streams.
You know, I do know that, and I've known we've had trouble in the past with certain hotels, but I feel like more often than not, I'm actually pleasantly surprised.
I feel like this is one of those questions, too, where it's like, eligible bachelor number 1. If I was at a convention, and you were playing StarCraft... okay, Infestation... Whoop, why did that... Infestation pit on the way. Hydralist Den 2. I'm really curious to see if we'll see the Hydra dynamic to this. Tanks, I think someone was talking about this earlier. I don't know the dynamic of this, but apparently Tanks... Yeah, Tanks will take an extra shot to kill Hydras now.
Tanks, you're welcome.
Yeah, 2 shots from a tank will still only do 88, even with +1. I guess you'll need +2 weapons, excuse me, to accurately and quickly
Remember
dispose of
when
Hydras.
Blizzard was like, we're gonna make mech viable?
You remember when we had this big secret conference with them at a convention, and all we did there was talk about how Blizzard wanted to see mech be a big thing, but specifically versus Protoss?
I think you can say it at the summit.
Oh, I couldn't remember the name. That's why I was...
Oh, I was like, just being awfully like secret about this. Yeah, right.
Yeah, the summit. That's what we called it. That's right.
Anyways, I don't know, man. I mean, this isn't.
You know what my most memorable moment of the last summit was?
What's that?
Playing Pokemon Go with Nathanius.
Aww, you stayed up, little bro. I remember trying to play Jelly Bean Russian Roulette, and I also remember not being able to drink. Not sleeping.
I remember you not trusting me when I told you a Jelly Bean was going to be delicious.
And then I did, and it was gross.
I know.
So don't try and make this sound like I didn't trust you, and there is no reason not to trust you.
Okay, there we see it, guys. 90 health on the Hydra list. Ugh.
Yeah, just like that Jelly Bean I ate. Seriously, guys, like I gagged with this Jelly Bean. It was so gross. It was like vomit or something. God damn it.
Oh, yo, shout out to Sheezel, by the way, in chat. Greatest green screen user on Twitch, I'm saying. At least in the StarCraft section. Vipers coming out, though. You know what? This is the problem I have with mech. This is where I get tilted and angry, and this is where I actually get balance whiny. I really hate Vipers. They tried to tone them down recently by reducing the blinding cloud duration, but really it's more about their abducts most of the time than their blinding clouds. And I think Hydras being able to survive hits, deal out that damage really quickly, you just start abducting things and you're just gobbling up that Terran army one bite at a time.
Yeah, that's a perfect sum of what's going to happen. There's also going to be Brood Lords coming up behind whatever doesn't get killed with the Vipers. So that is not something that GuMiho is necessarily prepared to deal with. He doesn't have a lot of Thors. He doesn't have any Vikings. Okay, well, he does have Vikings, I suppose. But he doesn't have, I think, as many Vikings as going to be necessary. 7 is a good start, but depending on how much soO dedicates to the Brood Lords, it's might be a very lame amount indeed. Blue Flame's on the way, a lot of upgrades, and GuMiho will be decently upgraded with +3 and even the armor coming down now. It's got a 4th base set up, and well, soO has let it kind of get to this point, I suppose. Well, it's kind of on the Zerg side of things to decide if it's going to end soon or go late.
So there's some interesting dynamics actually coming into play now. First off, we got Hyperflight Rotor with the Banshees, which I'm a huge fan of. We'll talk about more if that becomes effective or not. I was hoping to see a couple more Thors, because just as a side note to deal with Vipers, lots of Vikings, but also Thors in their high-impact payload mode can actually dish out a lot of damage and snipe them out of the sky pretty quick. Not a lot of Vipers, though. soO, good guy soO, doesn't go for 5 because he doesn't want to win the game too easily. He only goes for 2. He wants a challenge.
Okay, buddy. Watch him lose like 20 Hydras and then replace it with nothing but Vipers and Brood Lords.
Right. Again, what's that tank damage now? He's got +2. 48. Yeah, so now he can start 2-shotting the Hydras, which will be pretty big. But... anyways, these Vipers, we'll see how effective they are. The Hyperflight Rotor Banshees, though, he's got a lot of them built up already, 3, and he's still producing them. These aren't going to be such a big deal in terms of, like, fighting the Hydras. You're not getting Hyperflight Rotors because you want to fight an army head-on. You're getting Hyperflight Rotors because you want to harass and run around the map without repercussions.
This could be a very long game indeed.
Well, I don't know, because the thing is, like, a mech army is not easily replaced. So, yes, it's potentially long in terms of the stall-out to build it up, but the second somebody breaks somebody, it's pretty much over. Like, soO might have a bank, and he does have a bank. My God. That's impressive. But anyways, he could remake a million times over, but if he can't kill GuMiho's army, then all those remaxes are for nothing. Same thing for GuMiho. If he loses his army, he's not rebuilding 14 tanks. He's not getting this spread once again. This is a really sexy spread to tanks, too, by the way.
Well, his Banshees are out in play, and they're about to have that speed boost, so they could even start sniping the hatcheries. GuMiho's gotten a base already down. He's got 2 more orbitals, finalizing here, and even 2 more command centers to put into more planetaries, I suppose.
Yeah, and soO's got a ton of 2 mores as well. That's why the Banshees are trying to clean them all up.
Cancel there, cancel over there, cancel everywhere.
Holdnik GuMiho had a farm.
Finally, the Corruptor's on the way to maybe turn to Brood Lords, maybe just take out the Vikings.
I actually wonder how the damage point would work with dancing around Vikings now.
Oh no, there's a Rufus here.
Now this feels a little bit bad. I said the Banshees aren't for fighting. They usually aren't, but you know, when you get your freebie, catch your freebie.
Yeah, for sure. soO will probably want to take down these rocks soon enough here. I mean, he's banking a lot right now, and that's fine. But if this does really go into that super, super long game, a lack of Rematch, just a lack of steady economy can like very quickly turn the game around from the Zerg going from like, oh, I have plenty to throw at this Terran to, oh shit, like I didn't expand.
Yeah.
I need to throw at this Terran.
This is kind of cool. We got Corvid reactors being researched now, by the way, and the Raven upgrade queued up for afterwards. Secret missiles dealing more damage, longer range, all that good stuff. And Raven production starts. We have actually, it's been a long time since we've seen mass Ravens of any variety, and I'm curious to see just how many he plans to make. I think honestly having 2 to 6 in the arsenal just for auto turrets alone could be hugely beneficial. And let's not forget, point defense drones will shut down Hydralisk damage fully and entirely.
It has been a while since I've seen Ravens. In mass, anyways.
Well, kind of go back to, again, fun games on Nathaniel's stream because he plays more mech than anybody else. Oh, he's going to get spawning. Maybe?
Is he?
No, he's not. Blue Flame Hellion and Raven with point defense drones makes Hydra's laughable, like, honestly. But that, again, was pre-90 health. I don't know what the dynamic there is like now. Tanks aplenty, though. Coming on the right side, there's no blinding clouds. There's no Vipers. This is looking a little bit rough, actually, for soO. He might just have to give up this base. He got caught off guard really badly.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't just pre-pull the drones. Now he thinks about it and pulls some away, but yeah, that is just a give up that base right there. He's got another one to go to, and he still has a lot of minerals and gas.
There's his abducts, by the way.
Yeah,
nicely
abducts
done.
on those Thors. What is this upgrade? Recalibrated explosives.
Yeah, that's what I was saying with the extra secret missile damage and range. Now, to be clear, it doesn't mean you can secret missile from farther away, but it means you have to move farther away before it turns into a dud and fizzles. So, it doesn't quite bring the secret missile back to what it once was, but close to it. Damn, there's a lot of missile turrets coming down.
You got the cash. Don't let any Vipers near you.
Dosh. Money, money,
Sometimes
money.
I wonder what their goal is with upgrade icons. I really think the high sec auto tracking is like a pretty good one because like you can kind of tell it's something to do with range, I think. And then well, I don't even like the +2 air weapons early just kind of looks to me more like a booster than it looks like missiles. But I realize it's supposed to be missiles.
So Broodlords are a really expensive in-game unit that could be good or could be bad. But chat's actually bringing up like, oh, I hope soO goes for swarm hosts. But the funny thing is, we've actually, well, yeah, it's a little bit late now, but we've actually seen some decent use of them from mostly European Zergs.
Yeah, for sure. They're actually really good. I thought chat was being serious.
Well, I don't know if they were. That's why I just want to bring it up because it is actually a viable option. And, you know, the thing is, soO's dedicated a lot to range weapon upgrades too, so that's another thing he could actually go back to later. But as we know, the earlier you make a swarm host, the more effective it'll be later on. It's kind of expensive with its cooldown more than its cost.
Get all the upgrades. Probably even gonna start seeing GuMiho sacrifice a couple SCVs. 69.
Where's his yeah, okay. His oh, okay. I'm curious about the fusion core in a moment, but 6 Ravens, 11 Vikings. I think he's actually got the anti-air to take this on, but at the same time, soO has a weird mishmash of units here. Like the Midas will be kind of nice, fast, maneuverable. A couple of parasitic bombs come down, and Vikings get absolutely riggedy wrecked. But the Broodlords hopefully just aren't ever left exposed. Meanwhile, wow, those roaches got destroyed.
Yes, they did. Creep spread very slowly being pushed back by repeated Hellion attempts. It does look very odd, but okay.
It's really nice being able to use Hellions like this too, because it is strictly just minerals. So you don't have to worry about losing gas by overextending on creep too far or anything silly like that. Burns a couple scans too. Viking count realized. Very scary. soO, though, in the meantime, has been going so heavy on air upgrades. He's got +2 coming out next, and I'm wondering if this is going to be, at some point, him going for the weapons too. The Brood Lords and the Broodlings don't seem to be for much other than like friendly fire aspect. With no melee upgrades, the Broodlings actually aren't going to be doing much to tanks that are +3 armor.
No, they aren't. Are they even getting a Liberator range here, despite not getting many Liberators? And really has become the split map scenario. Again, soO should have probably broken down the rocks by now. Just like there's not much else happening, you know? So like, why not in case you need an emergency backup base?
Yeah, you might not
suddenly start base trading.
You actually might not have the army to do it later.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. Very small thing here. soO wants to not be the one that forces the issue. I mean, neither of these players really want to force the engagement.
Well, that's where
soO
the
is going
Broodlords
to try it now.
That is a considerable amount of Broodlords too, but again, Thor's high impact payload hits for a lot with upgrades. 65 a shot from 10 yards away. Seeker missiles come in. Parasitic bombs land. I don't know who's got more AoE damage here, but it's pretty nasty on both sides.
Okay, well, they weren't all on the Overseers, but I found it very odd that 3 of them were on the Overseers. They did kill all of them.
Overseers are the slowest probably thing in that army next to the Broodlords.
What? Oh, they're really speedy. He has the speed upgrade.
Yeah, but I think Corruptors, Mutas, and Vipers are all faster, right?
I don't know about that, actually. I just don't know, actually. Even with the Corruptors new
click and
speed,
find
but
out. 4.72. Where's an Overseer? Does he have one?
They all died because they all went forward.
No, he's got
like, he was really good about...
Overseers move at the exact same speed as a Corruptor. Today I learned.
Alright, there you go. Well, anyways, it just was funny because the Overseers were really good about being split apart and running into GuMiho's army, but it obviously still was a good trade. No disastrous secret missiles either way, friendly fire or not. And now we have Broodlords. Or, fuck, now we have battlecruisers. They're supposed to start with B. And we also have Broodlords, so it wasn't entirely incorrect.
Yamato could be really effective, and we'll talk more on that later. But just to go back to the dynamic of this damage point and the acceleration for the Corruptors, like this was meant to be something versus Protoss, but Corruptors do have the bonus damage versus battlecruisers as well, being massive units. So we might just see that come into effect. I'm unsure. Battlecruisers, by the way, are like the most expensive freaking thing in the game, so might not even be worth going for just yet. The reason Vipers as well, I feel like, are a little bit superior to Ravens is just the rate at which they can gain energy back. Like Ravens dish out a ton of damage, sure, but it takes them forever to get that energy back. Whereas Vipers, they just go suck on an extractor. That sounded dirty, I know, but 13 Ravens. This is nothing to joke around about. He's got them kind of spread. We got too many secret missiles on that one Broodlord.
Yeah, he split the Broodlord. Doesn't split the Corruptor, though, but doesn't deal enough splash damage.
Oh, those Thors are actually dealing a ton of damage, too, but they're getting shots wasted now on the Broodlings. Starts focus firing down the last moment. One of the Thors still standing. Corruptor's starting to do pretty well. Another secret missile going to tick, but it goes on a Broodlord, and not this clump of Corruptors.
Oh, there's still energy on
auto turrets wrecked Corruptors. Yeah. That's where they got to fall back.
That's a little bold for him to chase the Corruptors. There's still a lot of energy on a lot of those Ravens. Battlecruiser first appears, but it's more about the Thors that are going to start backing this up.
You know,
Hydras were so awkward. They came in and were like, we're going to do something, and then they didn't.
No, they didn't, yeah. This ends up being a little bit weird, considering soO took a worse, like, economically speaking, a worse trade. I still think he took a better engagement. Those Raven count was on, what, 13 before? It's down to 8. 200 gas, and not to mention you're building battlecruisers, which is another like 300 gas. You just won't have the same bank and the same remax potential trying to do this. Oh, well, it's a good thing soO didn't break down those rocks, I suppose, now.
Yeah, right? GuMiho, please. This is...
What were you thinking, GuMiho?
I'll never expect it.
Well, that was the cost of a battlecruiser right there. Rip. Yeah, but okay, let's talk about battlecruisers in this dynamic. There's a pretty big deal here with the battlecruiser armor. I hope we'll see some point defense drones, by the way, for future engagements. But the big thing about them is, of course, their teleport. Regardless of how much health or armor, whatever for the battlecruiser, it can instantly teleport, so it's instant, and it becomes invulnerable while doing it. So you walk over, you fire a Yamato, you fly away if you get in some danger. Like battlecruisers can be really good support, harass, and just tank units. They fill a lot of roles depending on how you use them. But right now, big fight comes down on top of that mech army. Once again, Broodlord numbers are not that crazy, but it's about trying to take out these Ravens with those Corruptors. He's got to be careful, though. There's a couple secret missiles looking to hit the cluster.
There's still a couple of missile turrets and Thors spreading a lot of damage on these Corruptors. It's not dying.
Yeah, my concern on this, though, like, that's where the armor of these Corruptors is really shining through, but the auto turret's actually dealing a lot of damage, too. Broodlords forced the tanks to unsiege, so if there was ground support, they could have come in, but unfortunately, there's not. The Hydras, as mentioned before, were just kind of awkward. Battlecruiser top left, though, looking to get some base kills. Actually, these are some of the worst. Not that many workers have died this game.
Yeah, surprising few. They are attacking the drones right now, not killing the base.
soO's getting really overextended. I don't know if he can really stay here like this.
Well, he has 19 Corruptors on the way, so he's probably thinking, as long as I don't lose all the Broodlords instantly, I'll be able to continue pushing.
Yeah, maybe. Of course, Vikings deal bonus damage to Corruptors. Corruptors do not deal bonus damage to Vikings, so it's a little bit awkward, and this is what I was talking about overextending his stay. Yamato's could and should be firing to finish off the Broodlords. He's not. He does kill the base up here in the top left, though.
Those 19 Corruptors took forever to pop out, and he did lose the majority of his Broodlords. That was a problem. He didn't even kill the bases, I don't think. He was attacking a planetary for a second there, and the mass repair saved it.
Nice save on that teleport. This is getting really bad for soO, though. He's exhausted his bank. I don't think soO's going to win this game. I think, actually...
It's not looking that way.
For me, it's just like, there was no Swarm Host. This is the first part of this, right? And it got to the point where it was Terran Air. And then when he went Terran Air, there wasn't just a ton of Vipers. Like, Parasitic Bombs destroy Terran.
Oh, boy.
I'm surprised we only saw, like, 2 Vipers. How many actually total this game? 3 plus these 2. Yeah, 5 Vipers over the course of this game is not enough to deal with Terran Air. That was a mistake.
And he really did overextend with those Broodlords. Because if he had the Broodlords and he saved them, you know, that's a lot of supply he's not down. That's still an army you can fight with 15 extra Corruptors.
It's funny to say, because soO made a lot of good decisions this game, but also a lot of bad ones. And ultimately, I feel like he threw himself into GuMiho's clutches.
Kind of an emergency Hydra swap here. There isn't a lot on the ground, but there's only so many Hydras. And, you know, do remember these mech units are pretty well upgraded.
Yeah. Battlecruiser 6 armor for context here, so Hydra's still not going to do that much damage. Same here with the Thors and the tanks.
Oh, GuMiho's going to bring it back with mech. He has to retreat for now, but that supply...
Yeah, both of them are out of bank, but the difference is one has a lot of supply, the other doesn't.
Yeah. One still has a lot of mining, too. GuMiho never really got broke on his bases. It's soO who lost his top base, middle base, and this one doesn't even have any drones on it. It's got 23 drones. So, soO's probably feeling that he's lost the game, but maybe quite hasn't recognized the scope of it yet.
Yeah, I just, whatever for me being too judgmental, I really think the biggest mistake this game was not letting GuMiho go to air. In fact, I think GuMiho going air could have been devastating for him had there been more things like Parasitic Bombs and Abducts, but we saw very little use of either of those spells this game, which are incredibly crucial to dealing with things like this.
GG.
All right, GuMiho's not going down without a fight, but that's not the way I expected it. All right, he puts a point on the board. soO still has the next game to close this out with. That was an incredibly long game, though, so we are going to play a commercial break because it's been 40 minutes since the last break. We'll see you guys soon. Okie dokie then. We find ourselves in game number 4. A little unexpected with the momentum that this series had carried, but put his foot down in the ground, going mech, and bringing back at least one game so far. In the bottom right, it's GuMiho.
In the top left is the blue Zerg. It is soO.
So I don't want to disagree with folks who are on the GuMiho hype train. Like, he did a good job winning that game. But I consider myself a fairly fine connoisseur of mech. And I gotta be honest, that game felt a lot more like soO throwing than GuMiho dominating and winning. And this comes from multi-server experience, watching these guys play, watching people like Nate stream all the time, always. And the Korean style of mech has always been very different than the Foreigner style of mech, granted. But just so much of the game was soO throwing himself into GuMiho, and I can't get over that. I just really can't.
Yeah, it's kind of weird when right before he overcommitted, when he was just flying over the auto turrets, I was like, wow, these critters aren't dying. Maybe I'm not giving them enough credit. And then he flew over that command center and started getting them killed, and I was like, oh shit, well, okay, I guess he did give them too much credit. I don't know. I thought maybe that was the point at which he decided to overcommit. He's like, no, these critters can take a hit or two, and then they couldn't because they were kind of already getting low. Or maybe he just wanted to get the game over with. Certainly a lot of these longer games have to do with what points you get frustrated.
Oh, well, plus time. What is it in Korea right now, right? Like, it's like got to be like 7 a.m. or something crazy. Oh, no, 7 a.m. here, excuse me. So, like...
No, it's like 1
2
p.m.
a.m.? 1 p.m.?
Wait, hold on. No, 1 a.m.
Yeah, I was going to say, because this started at 8 p.m. KST.
Yeah, it's 1 a.m.
Yeah, so... don't want to play an hour-long game 2 at night, that's for certain.
Yeah.
Either way, again, none of these games would be possible, guys. I'm not going to do a huge sponsor shout-out, but again, if you are in the United States, consider checking out TING over on bttv.ting.com. $25 in credit, save you some money on your phone bill, and again, 40 people signed up through this season means we get a season 4, and I want a season 5, and I want a season 6.
I want a season 100 so we can get the triple X.
How many people are using Ting at that point, though? Are there even enough Americans?
100 times 40.
It's 4,000.
I think there's enough Americans. If everyone who's watching right now signed up for Ting.
Well, you gotta consider, too, a lot of people tuning in who are Americans, specifically, probably either locked into big phone plans or still got like 2 years left on the contract, or maybe you're too young to have control over the cell phone bills.
I believe it can happen.
Tell your parents, kids, don't steal their credit cards, but show them Ting ads. There you go.
Yeah, that'll do it.
All right, soO's actually getting a considerable amount of lings with speed. This looks a little bit similar to SOP and the Hellions that we saw before, but GuMiho has nothing close to a wall.
Oh, yeah.
And no reactor on those Hellions, so a very limited amount of them. Is he trying to fake out the Banshee, or is this just like a later Banshee with a faster Viking for some reason?
I think it's a later Banshee. Oh, this is a problem. That's too many lings for only 2 Hellions to go up against. They are on the ramp. Yeah. So he's going to be able to control them pretty well, and it shouldn't be like game over, but he may have to lift his natural command center. soO, I think, tried to hide the rest of his lings, hoping that GuMiho might chase with his Hellions. Now it comes in with all of them, and that's a ton of lings. But 2 more Hellions join the fray, and that might be enough.
Oh no, what was he doing? It's like some awkward move command trying to get a surround on the Hellions. That cost him half of his lings.
That was a big committal of lings, too. That was just easy peasy for GuMiho. Initially looked very scary, but he dealt with it patiently and really well, and soO definitely made the mistake there.
That was disappointing to watch. That was such an easy mistake to avoid, too, just by not engaging.
Yeah, they're still going to be useful for taking care of the Hellions out on the map and that type of number. You hide them in different locations as well, and maybe you still get that surround he was hoping for in the natural. But now you're going to have to remake them at some point. If you don't remake the lings, then I guess you're going to have to remake the roaches, because soO is getting roaches right now. Like in that roach game. I barely saw the 3rd command center on location, so that's a decent scout. Viking that was so weirdly put first. Doesn't quite get that Overlord kill.
This Overlord did see the Banshee sailing out, though. This will prompt Spore Crawlers. That's a really fast Hyperflight Rotors upgrade coming out of GuMiho, though.
Spinny.
But so this is like, I'm doing the not like this emote in real life right now, because the Hyperflight Rotor, it helps you outrun Overseers and thus escape, but it helps you in no way really against the static defense. Maybe you maneuver around it a little bit faster and can duck in for like 1 extra drone, but at the end of the day, you're still taking damage from that static defense, and Banshees don't have a very high health pool. Hellions, in the meantime, by the way, do roast up some drones. soO is struggling to deal with these early attacks from these Hellions. Banshee in the 3rd also got a little bit of damage done. 13 workers die total so far.
Not bad.
Apparently mech is the answer to beating soO, whether it's mild amounts of early game mech or crazy amounts of late game, because GuMiho's going double factories once again.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's going to be mech, and soO once again has like a decent opener for it. It doesn't have the mutas to take any sort of control. Not that they did a good job of that anyways last game, but it is just straight into roaches. But it's roaches, not a bunch of lings that are going to continue to get barbecued by the Hellions. And soO found himself in a decent position last game. Oh, well, okay, it's still going to be some mutas, but not first. But yeah, he found himself in a decent position last game. We talked about it. It was really just kind of like a couple of bad decisions all over the game, and especially at the last couple of minutes of the game that forced soO to look so bad against mech.
Yeah, I mean, GuMiho's making things work this time around. Like, this is, again, I think every time you do something good in StarCraft, it does depend on your opponent messing up a little bit to a degree, but this just feels tough to watch, because soO is, in my mind, so much better than this, but I don't want to take anything away from GuMiho, because his controls are pretty good, his tactics have been interesting, and god damn, if a man goes Hyperflight Rotors, he's won my heart.
soO used to be quite good against mech, as I recall. I don't remember why I think that, but...
Oh, are you a mothership?
I'm an Arbiter. I don't know what sounds Arbiters make.
Chapokazor. Duros.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool one. Wait, no, that's not... Is that the Arbiter?
I think so. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I think you're wrong. Hold on here. It's gonna be good use of my time.
Okay. Can I look up YouTube Arbiter quotes?
Yes, I am.
Nice. Well, you can hit us up with some of your impressions, but look at those jets fly, and those banshees are moving wicked fast. 5.25. I don't actually know if there's much in the game that can catch them. Yeah, most of it has to do with detection. Like, mutas outrun them clearly, but overseers do not, and that's where you just run away and hide in the shadows or daylight, I guess, because you're cloaked.
No, you're right. Yeah.
Did I nail it?
What was the second thing you said? I don't remember.
Duros.
Oh, okay, yeah, then you nailed it. Good job.
Yeah, random Brood War knowledge is not in gameplay, but instead unit quotes.
I would probably remember Warp Field stabilized. Anyways.
Oh my god, he lined up the last second, giving GuMiho a lot of extra kills. That went from decent kills to amazing kills real quick. 29 drones dead, and GuMiho at the cost of just Hellions? I mean, the Banshees, whatever. But the Hellions, my god, the Hellions. How many workers total killed us that?
That's a lot of damage.
46.
He's in a really good position. I mean, soO's still on his way to, 60 drones and Hive and Hydralisk and all that, but it definitely means he doesn't have any push to worry about. GuMiho, that is. soO doesn't have really that much of an army. He needs to remake his economy.
You can't spell.
GuMiho's gonna run away, maybe.
Can't spell Hyperflight Routers without hype. Look at those Banshees chase those roaches. Oh man, it's so much extra shots fired, so much extra damage when they get to actually do things like that, but that's gonna be shut down because again, they can't really. It doesn't give them any faster attack speed. It doesn't give them better hitting rockets. Like you're still gonna be pushed back by Queens and Spores in the same way, depending on how this is handled. Did he see that?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, in a very small way, the added speed to micro does, but I don't think he saw that. Well, soO probably didn't think he'd have to worry about a push with it being mech and all.
Yeah, like who pushes with 3 Thors?
Someone who just dealt a crap ton of economic damage, I guess. Like, yeah. He's probably hoping soO doesn't have an army, which is kind of true. It's making now.
This isn't enough roaches, by the way. You need 3 to one-shot workers, so like there's enough for this base, but not for the others.
Clearly, Zombie Grub's his Archon partner. What's that? 7?
Why you gotta remind me, man? I'm like, why are you giving me like 7 roaches? Or worse, because you give me like 5 sometimes, and I'm like, I can't split these in half. It doesn't work like that.
They just won't be as effective on one side.
All right, scans of the Banshees will clean this up, but he killed the 4th base. Thors are crazy good at killing hatcheries. And he pulls back. I actually like that he pulls back too. He could have gotten greedy and reached further, but there's a chance he would have just gotten surrounded, and then that gives away some very expensive, hard to remake Thor units.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, he's preparing
Cleans
to tune in
up
up
the
the
roaches.
Banshees. It's like NASCAR.
What?
Just tune up the Banshees.
Oh, okay. Yeah, exactly like NASCAR. Well, they'd be gone by now. I mean, this would be a very slow tune-up.
I didn't say he was good at his job.
NASCAR dude person.
He was a NASCAR.
We know all about the NASCAR.
Well, playing Mac takes about as long as it takes them to do 400 laps, right? So there you go. It's not too far off. All right, sure. So Thor's in high impact payload mode. They flex out those guns. It's single target only going forward, but it is more damage and longer range. So hell, you gotta consider what's armored in the air is mostly Overlords, Corruptors, and I guess Vipers too, actually. Those are always armored. But not gonna have to worry about any of that, really. Overseers are the only thing at the moment.
Marines in my army? Never.
Who builds up barracks? I mean, honestly, this is just floating. What do you do? Make flying Marines? Have them jump out? Please.
You should land that instead of building Marines.
Although, what would you really do to compensate? Like, if your opponent was going mech, you trigger like Hellions. Like, how would you changeling into a Helly?
Magic. I don't know, man. What if we were in the first place?
All right. So this army. Well, actually, they should just change it to SCVs. It'd be a lot less weird to see. Anyways, Vipers get plucked out of the sky. That's where the high impact payload really pays off. But the Blinding Cloud forces him to back away. Blinding Cloud will affect soO's units too if he's not careful. So both of them kind of had to disengage from that awkward spot. 5 of the Banshees hit and running on the left side. They killed a base. They're flying over right. Looks like with no Overseer because the Thor's picking them off, they might be able to just kill that Hydralisk army with that cloak.
So speedy.
They're so speedy.
Fast. Or die. Or die.
Oh, God. Gosh, darn it.
soO starting to take these really good engagements. Now, GuMiho has expanded to a 4th base and has +3 weapons on the way.
Blue Flame!
Not anymore.
Shoot the units so you do bonus damage too. There you go.
You need to be careful. This is the next hatchery on the list for GuMiho, and it's already quite low.
Yeah, he just cancels it. He's like, screw that. That's not worth it. The army supply out of soO, though, is dominant. It's large. It's good. I just wish I had a few more Vipers. 3 of them at the moment. And it's not so much for Blinding Clouds. Abduct those Thors one at a time. Pick them off. Because you won't get one shot by the Thor with a Viper. Even if you got upgrades on those Thors, they've got a substantial amount of health and they can take those hits. And Thor's, what's it, like a 3-second reload? 2-second reload.
Big ol' counter is scouted by GuMiho, the Xel'Naga, the Banshees both see it. He already has some units in position. Not sieging though. Okay, he's not gonna bother.
Yeah, I'm wondering at what point too soO decides to build like a couple Evo chambers and a spine crawler just to wall off from those Hellions. So
yeah, right.
Banshees are continuing to just try and catch units where they can, whether it's a Queen out in the open or Hydra's rallied through. I mean, he's actually gotten pretty good effect out of the Hyperflight Rotor Banshees this game.
Man. GuMiho. Okay, so I'm pretty sure he saw that the army was on the left side, but he's not pulling back or pushing forward, just depending on his reinforcements to take care of it. But it was all of soO's army that just moved into GuMiho's natural in third base.
Yeah, but as it turns out, tanks are pretty nice. The abducts are a bit awkward because he doesn't abduct them out of range of the other tanks, but he just keeps gobbling them up one tank at a time. This is the type of Viper control and use I like to see. But the question is, does soO still have enough? He's got a big army supply. Hydras are pretty good. They got that bonus health.
Really don't like GuMiho's split here.
Oh, base trade!
A couple of Thors and Hellbats. He lets the siege tanks take care of all the bases. soO already has another hatchery on the way, and thank God he doesn't have many minerals to get any more.
He's 1, he's 2. As the tank set up on the high ground, I mean, there are other bases mining. Losing this one isn't so bad. See how long it takes him to kill the others. soO, on the other hand, is going to be losing everything, and I don't think he's got an easy way to deal with those tanks. If there's no scans, he might be able to tunneling claw underneath them, for example, but that was really the only option I could think of.
Yeah, and he does have it, but is he thinking about it?
Maybe not right now. He's still continuing to just knock down as many of these bases as he can. He doesn't know about this rightmost base, though, so... Oh, he's using Abathur. Okay, good to know. Anyways, he doesn't know about the rightmost base.
That does suck. The Tunneling Claws is not going to be able to save his natural base. Oh, the tank's unsieged. You're going to kill the base. Tap it. All right. So does he unburrow? The tanks aren't all sieged. It's kind of a tough decision to make here. He did not kill that command center, but I think it's burning, so it should go down anyway. Oh,
this is a big mistake. If soO thinks that GuMiho's not mining because he killed all those bases, he's going to be sorely mistaken. But he will kill a lot of very important units. Again, tanks are a pretty big deal. They're hard to make 3 at a time. That's so expensive, and that's all of GuMiho's money.
They're going to be kind of clumped up, too, coming out of the main, coming out of the natural. That's where the Vipers are going to play a big part.
I was pretty obsessed about GuMiho having no mining. soO's in the same situation.
Oh, yeah. soO's in a worse situation. 18 drones and only really 1 base mining. The natural wasn't too healthy, but it would have been something a little bit more. It kind of sucks that it ended up going down.
I'm kind of worried that 1 Banshee is just going to kill that whole drone line, to be honest. Hellion run by is going to run right into the Roaches and Hydra, so he's got to back away from that. Normally, Hellions are very disposable units, and you just want to throw them away and change them out for drones, but you can't do that when the economy is so limited like this. Sick burrow, saving that Roach. Does he know about the base yet? He still doesn't have any idea about this base.
Another big thing that we haven't really talked about is the upgrades. GuMiho did manage to get 3-1, I think a while ago, where soO has been stuck on 2-1 for some time. He's got to depend on his Tunneling Claws and his Blinding Clouds, or maybe a couple of Ducks, but that's just a very scary mech army.
I mean, Blinding Cloud's probably the best choice in a choke, but I don't think he's got the firepower behind it to support it. Blinding Cloud does not last long enough for this to work, and despite my funny balance whining, I don't think Viper's going to carry him through this.
No, he tries to abduct here at the last second, just not enough army.
The worst part is it's just barely not enough army, too, but with that base still mining, soO's going to go to the 5th and final game in this series. There's no way I see him winning this at this point.
These Tunneling Claws Roaches up to do some sick friendly fire.
They're not even going to accomplish that. The Banshee could clean them up. Rip.
Wow. Aw, gee. Oh, shit.
Oh, shit, indeed. GuMiho does try and make Maynard a very happy man and starts bringing this back from that initial 2-0. Maybe we'll see Mech again in the 5th game. I don't know, but we're going to one last commercial break. We'll see you guys here in 2 minutes. Alrighty then, getting into game number 5. This is the last possible game that could play out today. I I really don't know at this point who's going to take it. I feel so confident that if GuMiho goes mech again, he'll do it just because it really... I'm going to be honest. Like, I like and I respect soO. It just feels like he doesn't know what he's doing versus mech right now. And whether that's accurate or just totally a bad casting bias, it's just what it looks like to me from watching those last 2 games.
He did start off that last game with a very, very significant handicap, losing over 30 drones to Hellions.
But that kind of goes back into like I don't know these handling. Okay, anyways, talk about more in a minute. In the top left, playing for Storm Gaming, making an amazing recovery from that initial 2-0 start to this series. He has now tied it up 2-2, playing for Storm Gaming. It's GuMiho.
In the top right, as the blue Zerg, it is soO.
We got KJ Freedom in chat. For those who don't know, it's the Storm Gaming owner. Says Zombie Up could potentially be right. Reverse all kill. Even when I heard, I was like, no way. But honestly, it's looking.
That's totally what I meant when I said a reverse all kill. By the way, and you can't say that it wasn't because that's actually what it sounded like, not what I meant. Anyways,
my point is though, it is looking possible, and GuMiho, through these last 2 games, has made soO go from this like untouchably. And again, this is so weird because GuMiho 3-0'd the first time. Like, let's not forget this. The first time they played today, then comes back and soO starts with that 2-0. It looked like a complete reverse sweep. So I love the dynamic of these 2 players. My only regret is that one of them's gonna get knocked out here, and we won't get to see them fight again in this tournament.
No, we'll probably see them in a lot of other tournaments. It was a command center first, I believe, from GuMiho. Figures he can get away with it on honor grounds. soO, I think just went for a hatch first, right? Has 6 slings on the way, and still will have to deal with a Reaper. But it's not like it's multiple Reapers, as one could expect on honor grounds, versus a Terran. In game number 5. GuMiho could do that. GuMiho could be that guy.
GuMiho would have done that too, because he has done that many times today.
Yeah, but not this time. Thinking he's kind of agreeing with you though. It's just like mech is obviously the way to go against soO. It's worked out twice when Bio didn't.
And this is a better map for mech too, because you got to consider once you start planting planetaries everywhere, you're gonna have a lot of siege tanks covering that whole area that is this like courtyard to your base. You're gonna have the watchtower for vision on top of that. I just feel like this map would cater to mech a lot better than any of the maps we've seen so far.
Yep, and there it is. 2 factories.
Ooh,
no silly type of opener with banshees or armories. No, just straight up second factory.
Banshees.
How you?
Actually, that's kind of what I would classify the fast hyperflight rotors, but I don't know. That game was not about the Banshees. They had effect, but it was so much about the Hellions and so much about the run-bys.
Yeah. I mean, it is more usual, I would say, to see mech come out from a 1-1-1 build. So, like, you hit that starport, and then it's the 3rd CC, or then it's the Banshees, that's the word, or it's the Liberators, like, it's something, right? But it's the second factory coming down so quickly, I was going to say, maybe we'll see some Hellions, maybe we'll see some Cyclones, maybe we'll see a push that soO is just not expecting the timing of. I mean, he tried these weird armory pushes with Bio, and they weren't weird enough. They didn't catch, a Roach player off guard enough. But a Cyclone push the Hellbats might.
Actually, one thing I would love to see is really fast +1 weapons. If he is going to get more than one Cyclone out, they can absolutely dominate Roaches. And that seems to be the case of what comes out for this. You don't really see just like, oh, I'll go for a lot of Lings and hope for the best. Cross my fingers. No, Hellions and Hellbats will wreck them. In most cases, at least. There's this old, like... I'm thinking like innovation actually. You remember using those double factories, like two Cyclone, 2 Hellion builds and stuff like that? That's something that would have been really cool to see blitz down soO for this last one. But either way, it's kind of the same effect. Hellbat's now transforming in. Cyclone chipping away at that hatchery. He's gonna get that base.
I imagine soO thought this was gonna come a little bit later, but he did scout this build. He saw the transfer of the factory over to the reactor and tried to get a roach run as fast as possible.
Not like this. Hatchery goes down, minimal cost. Nice trade here for GuMiho. I mean, he's cost efficiently going to be worse off because he loses the Cyclone, but shutting down a 3rd base of Zerg is massive.
Of course, now he has decent production, 2 Hellions, 2 Cyclones at a time. I'm not sure soO can do very much. He already had made the Roaches, so there's going to be dead weight for now. Third CC isn't going to be punished in time. Actually, it might be close. If the Lings hit us around, we could do it.
I can't read the message, but thank you to SPS Debo for the $5.
Got this. Thanks to Debo, $5. Rifkin, you're still a vampire, but I'm okay with that.
What?
Well, if it makes you feel any better, Rifkin, he spelled you're wrong. Thank you, GW Jones 82009 for the 513 sub. Keep up the great content. Thank you. And I think we got the other ones. Did we get Crancianos? The new sub? I don't know. Maybe we did.
Double hype. Woo!
Yay!
The attack commences, but there's so many Cyclones out. I don't know how else to do. I mean, the thing is, Cyclones don't do super great damage to the Ravagers, sure, but the fact that there's no buffer for said Ravagers makes this a little bit scary. The +1 weapons is on the way in 3 Cyclones at a time.
Teaser out and
GuMiho might actually be the course of action here. Taking control of the high ground, though, until there's an Overlord here, soO really shouldn't be taking this fight. He can't see through that grass.
5 Cyclones at a time. So close to having that +1. soO's on a timer. Has to run into the grass to get that sight, and while he might take down 1 or 2 Cyclones, there's 5 more on the way.
I like the transfuses. That's going a long way, but this is going to be like one of those suddenly the Fire Nation attack moments when +1 finishes. There's just going to be so much extra damage going into this. Most of the roaches are gone. Transfuses have been used up. These Ravagers should die, and the Queen's going to fall soon after.
GuMiho is going to take the army down, all the Queens down, and soO doesn't have much of an economy to go back on. He's going to try and play out this game with a lair.
I mean, this was so all in out of soO, too. No tech coming down whatsoever. No sneak attack with Overlords even dropping. Like, the second GuMiho counters, too. Like, 6 damage a shot every 0.1 seconds. These roaches are going to fall apart.
Yeah, there's some potential for a comeback for soO, and it's not wrong of him to try and macro this game out, but if this was game 1 in a series, maybe he's already tapped out after he lost his Queens. Who knows? GuMiho does attack without as many Cyclones as he would like for this.
He does leave an opening, too. The rally here for the Cyclones and the Hellions has to deal with these Lings. The Barracks following. Can't touch me.
Can't do anything about it.
Well, I could go some balance.
I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you.
Oh my god, that was the most annoying thing. Someone would be like, I'm not touching. So you're like, you know what? It's still annoying. I'm still going to punch you in the face if you don't cut that shit out right now.
But that was the point, Rifkin. You think they're just doing it because they like to be technically right?
Yes, that's why I would do it. That's why I did do it.
And that's even more annoying. People who like to be technically right.
Technically correct. The best kind of correct.
They get a yellow stuff for the 25-month resub.
Whoop, whoop. I don't know if 5 seconds alone can really do much here. Yeah, I like that GuMiho's pulling back. This is getting a little bit over-dedicated. Supply counts are actually in the favor of soO, but this isn't supply that's not necessarily better against what GuMiho has out. My concern is that GuMiho, well, he has this really cool amount of Cyclones. He might actually have enough Hellions. Lings could get surrounds on these and this could start getting a little bit scary. And soO's recognized that he needs them, so I like that he's included them back in his army.
GuMiho's up to 70 SCVs. Should be looking towards a 4th base because he has enough minerals for it. And it's around that time.
Yeah, I wonder if recognizing this, if soO would have been better going off air. Cyclone anti-air damage is pretty bunk. Even if you got like 20 of them. How many is that actually? 14 Cyclones. That's a hell of a lot of Cyclones.
Yeah. Oh, maybe. +2 is about to finish now for these Cyclones, where soO is still working on that 1-1, only halfway. No. 4th base finally goes down.
No. Oh, there we go. I don't know what happened. If I start saying no, would I run out of breath first, or would the Overlord die?
The Overlord would die. You can say no for a very long time. Alright then. So Aspire is on the way now, but the push is coming in. soO has a very small counterattack set up. He's got a decent concave, but all of his Lings are counterattacking, not keeping the Cyclones in place. Will it matter though? This might just be too many Roaches and Ravagers.
This is a pretty good break if he can break it. soO Supply starting to take that lead. As we can see, the Roaches die though. This is where it starts getting a bit scary because the Ravagers are going to be very weak afterwards, but GuMiho's not left with enough to really push in and kill. However, falling back to 4 bases, that becomes a planetary. He should have a pretty nice stronghold to fall back to. But all things considered, that was a fight that soO really needed in this game. He had just not been trading out well up to this point.
Yeah. Let's say he put himself into a good position with a 4th base and a Spire, now almost done. Of course, he's still missing out on the upgrades, and he's still missing out on tech, really. Spire is only so much. But pushing into these Cyclones, +2 or not, soO isn't taking that bad at trades. Maybe we're extending a little bit, because he is going to be saving money for that Spire. This is an Overseer as well. Planetary now morphing in, and GuMiho is totally fine. He can actually take a lot of losses and still be, you know, in a good position in this game from the earlier lead. But soO's trying to bring this back.
I'm surprised that GuMiho hasn't decided to go for a tank or two with this. I mean, the mobility is very important. A lot of Hellions, a lot of Cyclones, they move fast, and they can dodge Corsair Biles. But I feel like 1 or 2 tanks would not hurt.
Right? Yeah, I kind of took him at some point to go over into tanks. Now it just seems like I've already gone so far with these. I gotta make them work. I don't know. You're gonna have +3 now. It's a lot of damage, but 11 mutas. Gonna be hard for the Cyclones to split up and take care of.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, guys, the Cyclone damage we like to meme about, but when you've got this many of them locking onto mutas, the damage actually won't be too bad. But it's also not going to be super stellar. So we'll see how effective they are against the muta swap, especially because you got to be already in position ready to catch them.
Well, soO has put all of his minerals and gas really into those mutas, a couple more drones, and an upgrade. That means he doesn't have anything going back into his ground army or his ground upgrades, but the muta swap might just be the perfect solution for everything here. Scan goes down to the main base, probably more checking for that hive than for mutas, but seeing no hive, seeing a Spire, knows that mutas are out. Attacking to that 3rd, 4th base actually gets quite a few drone kills.
Yeah, 15's pretty nice in that roast, and that's Roach Army on the left side is gonna get pushed back. That's so many sight. That actually looks horrifying to see move up that wall, or the ramp, excuse me. Wall ramp. I mean, a ramp is really just a wall on its side, lying down.
They get a Royce cycle.
Hey, that's 12 months.
Royce Soul. There's no other C. I think it's 12 months. I think the count is off, as I have already received my Partooth.
Oh.
But whatever, still awesome content with the lovely ZG and the blank Rifkin.
I'll assume that was a nice word, or the word vampire, because
I'm pretty sure it's vampire.
God damn it.
I don't think it's the Avilo Rifkin.
Not a vampire. I'd rather be a vampire in that scenario, I'll tell you that much. Hellions will run by once again. soO, no static defenses, just takes the damage.
Is he gonna get a command center? He got a command center though, like, tit for tat. I don't know if GuMiho needed that to happen. Well, maybe he did. There's just so many mutas. Holy.
28, yeah. No Thors in sight.
Liberators. Hey, Liberators are not that great against mutas anymore when they're 2 or 4, but they're 6 and the muta's still clumped up. It does the same thing. You watch them all explode. And that is what GuMiho is hoping for. And at the very least, even if there is only 4, and they're not clumped up, it's something that can actually go over all this pathing just like the mutas. That was always the greatest benefit for me, not necessarily that they totally dominated them in general before the patch. But they are bouncing from base to base, and it is just getting so annoying. GuMiho never really had a humongous bank. You know, he spent his money on a 4th base and then a 5th that just got killed, and he's supposed to have a gold right now, but he doesn't. So putting down massive amounts of missile turrets isn't really in his ability.
Fast cars, hot women, it's GuMiho. Sidestorm Gaming, really, in a nutshell.
Where's the woman?
Oh, I was just thinking of the cars, sorry.
Yeah, I know, they got the cars.
Alright, so cyclone damage is noteworthy, I guess, but not effective. I am really interested to see how these Liberators will fare, though. These are pretty much unupgraded Liberators that will have splash, but will the splash be enough to carry through? When we see this with things like Banelings, Banelings already have a lot of splash damage, even on things they're not super effective against. Liberators just don't have a lot of splash. Or a lot of damage, excuse me. They got a lot of splash, they just don't have a lot of damage.
Finally getting the infestation pit. It took a long time, all things considered, especially how the last 2 mech games have gone for soO to get to a hive. But I've liked the mutas more. I mean, I don't like the fact that they can all die very quickly.
Okay, he knew about the Widow Mines. Oh my god, I was like, I think he was trying to bait him with those mules like into coming to that fight, but Not going to take it. Corsair Biles is being really, really, really annoying. And still, these mutas are so hard to track down.
He can definitely take on the missile turrets now. If he takes on the missile turrets, he can take on an armory that is still researching. That would not be too bad, but scared of the Liberators being hot on his tail.
The position of this game right now, and again, looking mostly at soO's bank, really don't know who takes this.
I kind of want to give it to soO. Like, even with this push dominating the roaches, can it take out the mutas? The Liberators, I think, yes, but what if the Liberators get, well,
that's
distracted
the
when they get torn apart?
Too, right? Like,
yeah, suddenly there's 3, Liberators one way, 5 the other. They get taken out one by one. I mean, the mutas still have a chance here, but soO is missing a ground army.
There's a lot of Cyclones, too. The Liberators are going back home to try and deal with the mutas. Looks like, actually, this Widowmine's got some pretty good pop-offs, but only 6 mutas died to it. Meanwhile, slowly being pushed in, yeah.
Hey, base trade with no tunneling claws this time. Still decent upgrades for both parties. A lot of Ravagers.
Yeah, I saw him make those 12 roaches in the main. I didn't realize they had all turned into Ravagers, though. So that's a lot of Corsair Biles landing on all the Liberators. Now, of course, a good chunk of the Liberators were pulled back to chase the mutas, so they come to the front line. They're ready to go, but the same problem is going to present itself with Corsair Biles. Going to land on top of the tanks, land on top of the Liberators in the best case scenario, but that's not happening. This is the worst case scenario. And suddenly, GuMiho has taken a pretty decisive control on this game. Widowmine's pop off over here again.
Been cleaned up. Oh, geez, yeah. I thought the Liberators had all died, but seeing so many of them still alive, maybe GuMiho's got it. Those Widowmines have helped tremendously.
The problem with the Ravagers at this point is there's nothing to go in front of them. There's just such a small roach count to actually soak the tank blast, to let them get in range of Liberators, get in range of tanks. You will catch the Liberators on their own.
No.
Oh
no,
my God.
That's too many. No.
Lordy.
I
think that's it. I think that
is it. soO has a lot of money in the bank, but I don't think he knows what to make. It's gonna help him
does he
here.
even have the larva with losing all those hatcheries? No.
No. He doesn't take so bad of a fight with the Ravagers.
Money in the bank.
Doesn't matter.
Pimpin' ain't
dear
easy.
God.
Congratulations to GuMiho, who will finish second place in the group with a 3-2 finish and move on to the round of 8. It's a little bit disappointing and a little bit sad to see soO fall out, but the upside for soO is this means he can just like solely and entirely focus on GSL. Maybe VSL. I don't actually know if he's competing in VSL. At least the qualifiers for that are tomorrow.
Right.
Big stretch, though. That was a long as hell cast. 6 hours on that group, but we had some pretty good games for it. So, again, congratulations to GuMiho. Congratulations to Stats. Terran and a Protoss make it to the round of 8 where we've already got 2 Zergs waiting for them. So, tomorrow, I want to emphasize this again. Tomorrow's group was originally scheduled to play at 3 a.m. Pacific. As of right now, that is still the start time. However, there's a very high chance we'll be pushing that back 2 hours because players are worried about some conflict with VSL. That makes no sense to me, by the way. VSL should finish up like plenty of hours before our tournament starts. But there's supposedly some sort of like mystery orientation that Solar and others have heard about that might take time. I have no clue. So if that ends up being the case, we will move the group back to compensate. But the Korean group will play tomorrow, one way or another, 100%. The best thing to do is keep up to date with us on Twitter. Follow us so you can see tweets about when we go live and about updates on things like that. So I shitpost a lot. Follow me or not at your own risk at Riff_Kings. But I do keep the BaseTradeTV Twitter very clean. So follow the BaseTradeTV Twitter for updates on this later. The group that's coming up tomorrow night, or later tonight, time zones, right, is Beyond versus Alive and Solar versus Hero. And that's Root Gaming's Hero, not Team Revolution's Hero. So the ex-CJ Antis Hero, not the ex-Team Liquid Hero. Boy, I love having to make that distinction. But that'll wrap things up for today. ZombieGrub, your final words before I take off?
Follow me on Twitter at CG Gaming, on Twitch, ZombieGrub, and on YouTube, ZombieGrub.
And, of course, for me, guys, the channel, all that good stuff, but more importantly, the sponsor. Check out the sponsors. I mean, you've got TING, which is the big #1 big dealio of a sponsor. Without them, the TING Open Seasons 1 through 3 would never exist. But better than that, of course, is even... Well, not better. Equally good, I guess. Corsair getting on board and providing us a venue for this live finals. I'm just sharing the tweet on stream as I did earlier today as well. It's going to be in Fremont, California at the Corsair headquarters. This is a location you can easily Google and look up if you'd like. March 25th and 26th. I believe later today at some point there's supposed to be an Eventbrite, if not today, tomorrow. But the point is, the Eventbrite will guarantee you a reserved spot inside the event. There's going to be chairs to sit on, to view. We should have some other fun things there. There's definitely going to be giveaways from both Corsair and Ting. I don't know what, but both companies have told me they want to do giveaways for the people attending. So, hey, maybe you'll get one of these sexy Corsair wireless Void headsets. Maybe you'll get some Ting stuff. Maybe a free phone. I don't know what they're doing, but make sure that when we hit up that Eventbrite and when we start advertising it, you guys sign up if you're planning to go, because it gives us an idea of how many people are going to be there. If there's only going to be 50 people there, we can actually afford to do some cool extra things. If there's like 100 people there, maybe we'll just get some other stuff. I don't know, but point is, sign up, be there. It's StarCraft 2 only. What could go wrong? Well, everything could go wrong. I shouldn't say that. That's like you're in a movie and you're like, well, couldn't be worse than this, and then boom, lightning strikes, right? Like,
no, nothing can go wrong. Everything will be perfect. Don't worry about it.
I would hope so, at least. Anyways, thank you again for watching today, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the show. Like we said, be back tomorrow for the Korean group. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And then, of course, the NA group on Saturday and the round of 8 on Sunday as we conclude this saga of the Ting Open Season 3 and decide which 4 players go through to California. That being said, I'm just going to play one last set of ads and a set of ads on behalf of our sponsors. If you want to stick around and watch them, it would help out a ton. If not, have a wonderful day. And thank you for watching today, guys. Goodbye.
Bye.
Well, that ad did not rewind, so have this one instead.